you have to cut that bird's mouth so that it planes out with the rest of the rafters on the top. We try to take the wood out of the wall and put in insulation. That changes depending on how you apply the stress in relation to the grain direction. That's right. Welcome, everybody, to the Bungalows for Bachelors Late Night Learning. Hope you like that new introduction. And we're getting fired off here with some music from the Green Observer. Shout out to you, Green Observer, for being green and observing all the time, man. I appreciate the music that you produce. And if you want to get good music, you should go to him because he's got the good music. If you would like to see more of that crazy shenanigans that goes on in the introduction, then you should check out the YouTube channel, Bungalows for Bachelors. Obviously, if you're here watching, this is the channel. Check it out. If you want to be part of our community and join the Telegram group, then you can just go on over to the link in the description below, t.me/BFB success. If you want to be part of the fun that we have going on here. If you just want to see all of the other stuff that I do, it is all on my Linktree, which is Linktree/Samuel D. Stevenson with a V. Now, here at Bungalows for Bachelors, we're here to produce content for you guys so that you can learn and do stuff yourselves and just overall be a more well-rounded person. And part of that is going to be the home design program that I've got coming to you and the condensed home building program so that you can learn that knowledge faster and, pretty much just know where things are so that you can go get it when you need to go get it. Now, if you need to learn about money, then you should go check out hex.com because that is the world's first blockchain certificate of deposit. And that is where we can go to get our financial muscles stronger and learn about decentralized money. Check it out. If you're somebody who wants to know how to cook better, then go ahead and make what's the word I'm looking for? It's not coming to mind, but that's okay. Go ahead and make a money thing to me, and we'll get you a cookbook because the Brothers Two of Them podcast has created the best cookbook that the world has yet to offer. It has the healthiest meals. It's got the clearest instructions in terms of understanding how to cook. It's action-packed. I mean, 2 tower climbers, how better can it get? A cookbook. Check it out. Send me a message on Telegram. That's probably the best way to reach out to me. Now, we're here to talk about friendship. And more importantly, not just friendship, but not having to do risky, crazy stunts when building things. I can admit that I have spent some time in my life trying to install things by myself in the world of construction that I really probably shouldn't have. It's always that little bit of pride that we've all got going on where it's, I could pick up this 4-foot by 8-foot sheet that weighs 80 pounds and get it up a ladder, climb up onto a slippery metal roof that's all dusty. And, I could fall and land 20 feet below. It's, I got it, guys. I got it. Right. We all understand how that feels. So what we should probably not be doing is that kind of stuff because that's how you get, injured or die. And no one wants to die. And then if you die, then you don't get to build any more stuff. And that's a bummer. So an example would be I was doing a siding replacement on a house, 2 stories, big flat wall. Okay. It's just a big rectangular wall. It's 40 feet wide, 20 feet tall. And there's 2 rows of, 2 and a third rows of these big hardy sheets that have to go on. And the sheets are 4 feet wide by 8 feet tall. And each one weighs about 70 to 80 pounds, some number in there. And when you're installing these things, they need to be, if you can hear my cat, it's because he's decided that he wants to talk. Now, if you're installing these panels, it's very important that they go on very square because all of the panel seams are designed to line into each other and you're doing a huge wall. So it's going to be very obvious if any of these things are tilted or shifted or off or whatever. And so very, very tricky. Now, being that they're 70 or 80 pounds and you're the only one installing them, I had to find a way to hold the thing up on the wall while trying to get nails in it and have it be in the right spot with my layout and everything going on. It was just a nightmare. Shouldn't have done it. But if you go to my BFB Success Instagram page and check out one of the highlight reels I've got on there for my stories. That is the siding job that's in there. You'll see how crazy I had to get. But another example is I was doing a beam replacement job. And pretty much any time you're going to be lifting up a big, heavy thing, you should not be doing it by yourself. And I had set myself up for failure by basically saying, yeah, like I'll do this beam installation for this one guy. It was 4 plies of, I believe, full 24-inch deep LVL ply. And they were like 28 feet long. And they had to go through the end of a house, through like a hole in a gable, and slide into someone's attic. Now, I was somewhat engineeringly prepared, but I was not like manpowerly prepared. And so I called upon my family for assistance, and luckily they came through, and I was able to get my siblings together. One of them's in the chat right now. Shout out to Mr. Will Stevenson for showing up on the day the work was to be done and for saving my butt and teaching me how pulleys are supposed to work and how sheaves are, supposed to be a certain size for the rope that you're feeding and friction and all this good stuff. If you want to learn stuff about towers, you got to check him out. He's a pretty cool guy. He is probably going to post his link tree in the description because that's something he should do. People should know about him. So they showed up. They helped me install these beams. It all went fine, but we had to pick up these plies outside the house and roll them through the attic. And it was just a crazy job. So that's just an example of, a time when having friends would have been, it was life-saving. Like I probably would not have been able to complete that job by myself, or would have taken days. I don't even know what I would have done, but that's important. So it's important to have like multiple people to accomplish a job. An example of that, we'll talk a little bit about siding. If I'm going to install siding on a wall, let's just talk about lap siding first of all. All right. So the way lap siding is going to work here is I got some sticky notes, and this represents a lap. Okay. So if I'm doing a wall and this is my pile of lap siding on my workstation, I got to go to the wall. And first thing I got to do is I got to cut the first 4 laps in whatever pattern or whatever I'm doing. I have to measure those lengths and bring the lengths over, cut the 4 lengths, take them over to the side. I'll be like, okay, cool. Here's one. And let's put this right here. All right. That's not going to stick because it's a painted wall. How about this? All right. There's one. Cool. Let me walk back over to my workstation and then put the next one on up there. And then I'll put the next one on up there. And then, okay, so I'm sticking. And so basically, I got to go back and forth and do this. And as I'm doing this with lap siding, let's say the wall is right here at this black line, like this black letter on the left edge of this letter B here. If that's the end of the wall, I need to I put a quote finisher lap piece between this edge and that edge, and I need to know what size that is. So now, even though I'm trying to install these pieces going that direction, I have to also know what size this piece is. And I have to also know what size this piece is. But so here we go. So let's see. This is the finisher piece. It goes right in here. And let's say that happened to touch the edge and everybody was happy. Now I had to go get that measurement, come back and put that piece in. And then I got to go back over here and be like, oh, well, that's a full piece. So the full piece goes in right there. And look, now I could install a full piece here, a full piece here, or I could go measure that. And it's just like, there's just 100 things to do. And it just does not sound like it's not very efficient at all, right? It's way more efficient if there's one guy standing over here at the wall or 2 guys standing here at the wall, because honestly, these little sticky notes don't look like a lot, but a 12-foot stick of Hardy is pretty floppy, and they can be annoying to work with, especially if you're trying to avoid using the gecko gauges or anything like that. So if you got 2 guys over here, it's better, but if you got one guy with some gecko gauges, he can handle it usually. So one guy's over here. The other guy's over here with the stack. He is cutting and moving. So his job is to hear the numbers. The guy over here is going to say, he's going to pull his tape, say a number. He's going to pull his tape, say a number. And they're constantly going to be bouncing back and forth. One guy's going to be cutting. The other guy's going to be like measuring. And then hopefully your Hardy doesn't fall off the wall like that. And then you got to put it back on. Anyway, so it could be very difficult. So it is important to have multiple people when you're doing this stuff, both for efficiency and safety. Now, the panels are a whole other story, because one guy can pick up a panel. Obviously, I had to do it. I installed the whole thing. I went all the way up worst story. Worst panel I ever had to do. It was about 4 feet wide and about 5 feet tall after I had cut it down. It was probably 40, 50 pounds. And I had to get it to the top of a fully extended 24-foot ladder and get it like above me on the top of a chimney face. And it was just one of those things. And my nail gun, of course, didn't have a hook. And so I had to like make my nail gun stage to the top of the ladder. So like at any point going up the ladder, it could have like fallen on my head and like shot a nail through my brain. Just bad stuff, right? Just sketchy stuff. But I did it because the job had to be done. And I had to make money and provide for myself and for other people. So got to do what you got to do, but it's just not a good idea. So the panels, guys, there are tricks that people know where you can get these big panel products like a plywood or an OSB on. Those are a little bit lighter, so not as bad. But those big hardy panels, like those are heavy. And because that's your finished product on your wall, that's really got to be on just right. You can get away with fudging the sheathing panels below the siding, but not those things. And so I just gotta get these people in with you. You know, get a buddy to come out with you and sucker them into paying them like $200 for the day or something. And be like, hey, I got some fun stuff we can go do. And you know what? By the end of the day, it ends up being some of the coolest experiences you'll ever remember. And you know, maybe one of the funnest houses you ever built was one that you made out of little 1x2 sticks in your backyard on a 2 foot by 4 foot slab that you built, you know, and had some friends come over and like nail the thing together with a siding gun. Maybe that's going to be the coolest house you ever built. But like getting people involved is just going to be, it's going to be the game changer for you. Now, even with lap siding or panels, the strategies for getting them on the wall, even with more people, are going to be different. And what I mean by that is like if you're doing this lap product, you got to go back and forth across the whole length of the wall, all the way up the wall. With the paneling, it tends to be a little bit different. Like, yeah, you still kind of want to do a whole horizontal run before going up and doing another one, but it's just generally going to be, it's different staging because like different tools could be used. When you're doing the lap, it's very, very inconvenient unless you have a plank platform across the wall, either sitting on two ladders or sitting on like ladder or like plank jacks, you know, jack stands that go all the way to the roof. That could like, you can basically push the plank up anywhere along the wall. That's how you get that stuff done efficiently. I have done it both on planks and I've done it with just me and a ladder, moving the ladder around, go up and down the ladder for a piece, up and down the ladder for a piece, move the ladder, go up and down the ladder for a piece. What a nightmare. But like, you got to do what you got to do. And if that's what you got, that's what you got. And buying those planks and logistically moving those planks and storing those planks and all that stuff, that costs money and it can be a headache. So it just depends on the scale of your project. But if you're going to be doing 2 stories of anything or 3 stories, it just becomes a whole other animal. It scales the difficulty, it scales the danger, it scales the like lack of efficiency if you don't have an efficient process. Because now, even if I'm doing a second story and you're doing the lap or whatever, your product has to get from the cut station to the planks to the wall. And typically what's done, depending on the kind of siding you're installing, is you're actually going to bring the staged material with you up the planks. You're actually going to take a bunch of lap or a bunch of product and you're going to stack it up on the planks when they're down. And then as you jack them up the wall, it's a lot of work because you're literally, you know, you're jacking up all that material up the wall. Your cutter is up there on the plank with you. And you typically will just work back and forth. One person's cutting and you just kind of, you know, work with what you got. But it's important to like understand that kind of job is just like the more complicated the bigger stuff gets, the exponentially worse of an idea it is to try to do something by yourself. And so that's why it's very important to be part of a community like Bungalows for Bachelors, where you can know other people that are passionate about doing what you're doing, that care about the craftsmanship, that care about all this important stuff that goes into doing what you're trying to build. So the last thing I'm going to touch on here before doing a little shout out here is that there's a big difference in the scope of your project. For example, if you're going to build a whole building and doing all these trades and all this stuff, like there's a lot of stuff that you got to be aware of, and you're going to want more people to help you along the way. Now, if you're going to do something smaller, like an addition or a modification or this, that, and the other, and you happen to know that you're only working with mostly small members, like 2x material, single plies, like I'm going to pick up a 2x6 ceiling joist. Maybe it's 20 feet long, but it's just a 2x6. I get one end up, I get the other end up, yada, yada, yada. I can do it. You know, I'm about to come out with some footage on the garage to ADU project, the second garage to ADU project that's happening here in Texas, where it's mostly me framing. There's a little bit of stuff where I'm getting help, but most of it's just I'm just moving sticks around inside the building. It's nothing crazy. Most people can do that. But there is one beam on that garage ADU project where I was not going to get it in position by myself. We had to get 3 guys in because it was inside a contained structure, and we had to get it up into position just right and slide it in. And those things are heavy, even when you install one ply at a time. Forget it if it's a glulam beam. That's a lot of weight. So small members versus beams. Just have an idea of like what's the heaviest thing that I'm going to be picking up and installing on this project, and how can I hold it there while I'm trying to work with it? Sheetrock, for example, they make these wonderful tools called the sheetrock lifts, panel lifts, whatever you want to call it. It scrolls around on wheels through the floor, and you just basically set a panel on top and you jack the thing up, and it just holds it where you want it to go while you screw it in, and then you pull it down and put it out of the way. It tilts over. You could do it for walls. It's just a great tool. My cat's running around and making a mess. It's great. So, anyways, all that to say, I just think that it's important for you guys to understand how valuable it is to have people in your network around you that support you, that are into the same things that you're doing, especially if it's in construction and you want to be accomplishing some projects together. So, all that to say, let's do a little quick chat. I almost said the wrong word. Chat shout out here to Mr. Will Stevenson. He's describing that was a fun beam lift job. That is correct. That was a unique experience, a unique way to solve the problem, a unique problem to have. Most people don't remove 30 linear feet of load-bearing wall in their house because they want open spaces. But you know what? Hey, whatever. So appreciate it, Will, for showing up and watching the chat, being part of the chat and all that stuff. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I got. It's important for us to be part of a community and for accomplishing these goals together. That's the big point. Again, if you want to be part of the community that we got, it's free, and you can join on Telegram at t.me/BFB success. There is a link in the description for my link tree and Will's link tree. Not for that because I haven't posted it yet, but I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate you spending your time learning the kind of stuff that we have to teach here. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.